Stop using fake spiritual excuses as justification to stay in toxic and unhealthy relationships. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite pirate captain. It's your favorite goddess king. It's your favorite auntie uncle. It's your favorite hood healer, high priestess, motivational dominatrix, LadySpeech in the place to be. And I want to welcome you back to my channel. You could be anywhere in the world, honey. As a matter of fact, you are somewhere in the world, honey. And you're also choosing to share a little bit of time and space with me. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, make sure you hit that like button, baby. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, darling. Make sure you hit that notifications bell, honey. So you can keep up with all my shenanigans and happenings and goings downs and things. Now let's get into today's video. Shall we? Unpopular opinion. No, that is not your soulmate. No, that is not your twin flame. No, you ain't got no past life soul ties with this person. Stop manufacturing fake spiritual excuses in order to justify staying in toxic relationships. Because it's giving martyr. It's giving I refuse to do the deep down work. It's giving I am in denial about what's really going on. It's giving I don't live in reality and I'm choosing to live in a fantasy. Listen. As a diviner, as a reader who's been in this game for over 20 years, one of the first things that people want to speak about when they sit down with me is their love life. And I'm down, I'm willing, but you need to know when you come over here messing with me, you're gonna get the real about what's going on in your love life. I cannot tell you how many countless of people sit down in my chair and they begin with, this is my soulmate. I believe this is my twin flame. I believe this is my soul tie. And then they proceed to describe a relationship that is so abusive, so unhealthy, and so toxic. And they gaslight themselves into staying by saying, but this is my soulmate. But this is my soul tie. We have a soul tie. We have a past life connection. We were lovers in a past life. Listen, as someone who believes in past lives, I've lived several of them myself. People always ask me how old I am, and I say, baby, I'm 5,000 years old. And I mean that. As someone who believes in and actually has a few connections with people who I've walked in past lives with, it's not far-fetched that that is a reality. That you do have a connection with someone from the past. But newsflash, just because you have a connection with someone from a past life doesn't mean you need to carry on that connection in this life. There's a lot of us who have connections to people who we were friends with or associates with, or we knew somebody when we were in middle school, when we were in elementary school, when we were in high school, but now we've grown, we've progressed, we've evolved, and our life doesn't look like what it used to. And just because we had a connection to that person in middle school or in elementary school or in kindergarten does not mean that we have to have a connection going forward in our future life. Just because you might have or might be experiencing a connection with someone you had a connection with in a past life does not necessarily equate to y'all being together this life. There's a lot of you who meet people from your past lives in order to validate something, confirm something, or finish up a lesson. It's not necessarily about carrying on a relationship with this person in this lifetime. And even with that being said, there are, in my belief and in my opinion, there are ways that you are connected to people in past lifetimes that you are not going to replicate or redo that connection in this lifetime. It is my firm belief, from a spiritual perspective, that my maternal grandmother this lifetime, I have been her daughter many times. I've known this. And there's been a couple of interactions that we've had, even though we haven't had a lot of interactions in life. There's been a couple of interactions that for me, between she and I, that for me confirm that I have been her daughter quite often. We're connected this lifetime, and I'm not her daughter this lifetime. And I'm not going to try to be her daughter this lifetime. My mother is her daughter this lifetime, and I am my mother's child. I am that woman's grandchild. Just because we've had that connection in the past life doesn't mean we're to continue that connection this life. Stop using fake and manufactured spiritual excuses to justify staying in unhealthy and toxic relationships, okay? Stop. 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 Also, honey, let me tell you something. For the most part, your spirit is not going to encourage you to be in abusive relationships. Your spirit is not, your spiritual team, the creator, they're not going to just throw you to the fire and force you to be in a relationship that's not good for you. I should say your benevolent spirits. And that's another thing. Some of you are working with spirits that mean you harm. That's a whole nother video. But your benevolent spirits, if you doing right, they're not going to ask you to be in a relationship that damn near kills you or is going to cost you your mental health and your insanity. Stop using these manufactured excuses to stay in these toxic relationships, and let's start looking at some real issues. Let's get real. Some of you are in this relationship or in these relationships, and I don't just mean romantic relationships. We're talking about platonic relationships. We're talking about familiar relationships, definitely romantic relationship too, but this can span across the board, okay? This can span across the board, okay? Some of you stay in these relationships because you've been conditioned by your earlier abuse that this is love. Some of you stay in these unhealthy relationships because you've come from abuse that was so bad, that was so horrific, that was so horrible, that the abuse that this person is presenting to you, it seems like it's sunlight. It seems like it's sunshine. It seems like it's a golden shower of light and beauty and love and upliftment. Some of you are in the thick of your codependency issues, and some of you won't leave that toxic relationship because you are in the thick of the cycle of abuse. You've been thoroughly conditioned. You've been thoroughly groomed. Some of you are using fake manufactured spiritual reasons to stay in these toxic relationships because your toxic partner has caught on to the fact that you have an affinity for the spiritual, and they are the one that is implanting into you, but I'm your soulmate. Don't do this to your soulmate. But we have a soul tie, but we're twin flames. It's giving codependency. It's giving abandonment issues. It's giving, I need to sit down and take a real good look at some things that have traumatized me in my childhood and maybe address them because they're affecting the way I choose my partners. I am in no way making light of anything that I just said. But a lot of times when people say things like that's my soulmate, that's my soul tie, and we're watching them be in an abusive or toxic situation, those are excuses that help stop them from going deeper, that help stop them from digging deeper. No, honey, that's not your soulmate. That's a groomer. No, darling, you don't have a soul tie with this person. They just created a trauma bond between you and them. Yeah, no, that's not your twin flame. You are codependent and they are narcissistic. Stop. Stop using manufactured fake spiritual excuses to stay in these toxic relationships because it's going to do nothing but hurt you in the end. Love is not supposed to hurt on a consistent and regular basis. Love is not intentional abuse. Love is not in any way, shape, or form supposed to stunt your growth as an individual or person. That ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. There's some of you who are refusing to sit down and look at how deeply you've been hurt, because you feel like if you do that, you're gonna fall apart. And you know what? You're right. You will fall apart. And as someone who has fallen apart 1,000 different times, I can tell you that the falling apart is very integral and very, very much needed if you're gonna bring yourself back together again. If you're gonna put yourself back together again. The breaking down, the breaking apart is a very big part of healing. And if you are looking to avoid that, you will never reach your true potential in life, in my opinion. There will always be something holding you back. Stop using the soulmate, soul tie, twin flame excuse as a reason to not do your work, as a reason to not look at your trauma, as a reason to not look at how deeply you've been hurt. Stop. And then there's some of you. There's some of you who it's not about anything unhealthy. There's some of you who are very clear. This is not your mommy issues talking. This is not your daddy issues talking. This is the fact that this person gives you something that makes you feel good. 90% of the time, it's sex. A lot of y'all are addicted to the sex. A lot of y'all will stay with toxic individual because the physical loving is so good. I have encountered that so many times in my readings. Someone sit down and telling me that this is their soulmate, and by the end of the reading, it's like, no, they just do you good, honey. They just blow that back out on a good Friday night. That's what they do. That's not your soulmate. You've just never been loved up like they have loved you up. That's really it for some of you. It's as simple as that. For some of you, it's super deep, and you got to look into some issues and some generational healing and all that type of stuff. For some of you, it ain't that deep. For some of you, you saying this is your soulmate because you've never been done the way this person has done you. And to that, invest in some good toys, honey. That's all I can really say to that. Invest in some good toys, because that is not okay. Look, just be honest. If you fall into this latter category of you just addicted to some good sex, just go and admit that to yourself, okay? Go and admit that to yourself. Just be honest. You ain't gotta tell nobody that's your soulmate. Just because y'all's genitals get along so well. You ain't gotta tell nobody that's your twin flame. And I know, sex is a very powerful, magical force. It's one of the most magical forces of nature. It'll get you caught the hell up. And it's okay if you get caught the hell up. Some of you just need to admit that. That's not your twin flame. He just puts it down good. That's not your soulmate. She just know how to ride. A lot of y'all just need to admit that. You're just addicted to the sex. And I've been there. I've definitely been there. I've definitely been there. And the way I got out of it is you got to be honest about what's going on. And also, when you're honest about what's going on, then you can just enjoy the situation for what it is and then not take the toxic parts, okay? And then when you're done, you can walk the hell away. But yeah, it's as simple as that. Some of y'all, it's deep. It's just, like I said, this is your daddy issues talking. And for some of you, you're just addicted. And like I said, toys, baby. Invest in you some toys. Let's circle back around to something I said earlier, which is some of y'all are claiming soul ties, soulmates, twin flame energy with people who are less abusive to you than your past situations. And let me tell you that I can absolutely 1000% identify. So please don't judge yourself. Please don't judge yourself. I come from extreme abuse. Sensual, sexual, well, nothing was sensual about it. Sexual, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, extreme abuse. Which made my litmus test for abuse off kilter. Because the nature of my abuse was so extreme, because the nature of my exploitation was so extreme, it took me years to develop the sight to see little violations and little abuses. even to this day, because of what I've seen, I'm really good under pressure, because I've been through a lot of events where the only thing that saved my life was being good under pressure. But also, I'm good under pressure because there's not a lot that phases me at this point in the game. What I went through in my early life, the abuse was horrific and extreme. And this contributed to the bar being set really low in my life. If you were nice to me, if you listened to me, if you heard me, if you made space for me, I would make a whole lot of room and a whole lot of concessions for you. Good, bad, ugly, and in between. I understand. Sometimes you've been through abuse, you've been through situations that were so painful, that were so traumatic, that were so toxic. It's like you've been in this boiling pot of water. And someone gets you out of a boiled pot of water, and they put you into a pot of water that is not on a stove, and it's not boiling. It just was taken off the stove. But it's still hot. But because it's not boiling, this isn't as bad. Both are gonna burn you. You're gonna be hurt from both. But you're just so used to being thrown in the boiling pot of water that is still quiet pot of hot water doesn't hurt you as much. I understand. And even with that being said, do not use the excuse of that's my twin flame. Do not use the excuse of that's my soulmate. Do not use the excuse of we have a soul tie. Don't use the excuses to stay in that unhealthy relationship. Your best bet is to be real about whatever reality you are occupying inside of that relationship. From being a spiritual practitioner who works with my benevolent spirits, who works with Creator, I can tell you this: Creator has never wanted me to be in relationships with abusive people. They didn't want me to suffer in that way. A lot of times we use the excuses, these spiritual manufactured fake excuses, so we don't have to do the work. So we don't have to sit in some aloneness and look at the really dark, crazy, not so cool issues. Sometimes we do these things so we don't have to look at anything. The not looking, though, gets us and the people who come behind us in a whole lot of trouble. The not looking, though, will have you spending your life. It'll have you wasting 10, 15, 5 years of your life with someone who doesn't like you, respect you, or even love you. Not digging deeper, not looking at the work, not going deep will cost you your sanity, your money, your safety, your family, your friends, your dreams, your goals, a good life. Stop using fake manufactured excuses to stay in a toxic relationship. If you want to stay in that relationship because that's what you know and you feel comfortable there, say that. Own it. If you are staying in this unhealthy, toxic relationship because you have no idea how to move forward, say that. Own it. If you're staying in this unhealthy, toxic relationship because you're getting good loving and that's what you're prioritizing most in your life right now is the physical activity, say that. Own it. If you're in this toxic relationship and unhealthy relationship and you refuse to leave, because of your abandonment issues, because your mama issues, because your daddy issues, say that. What I can tell you about healing is this: it don't work unless you work it. And also, real healing from the root up doesn't really work unless you start from the root up. If you want to heal and you want that to stick, you have to go to the base of the issue. You have to go to the root. And willy-nilly out here saying and proclaiming, this is my twin flame. No, that ain't gonna get you anywhere good. Now listen, this is applying to unhealthy relationships, toxic relationships. There's a lot of you who are in good relationships and you're like, that's my soulmate, that's my twin flame. I'm not talking to y'all. So I bet not see y'all in the comments, because I'm not talking to y'all. I'm not talking to y'all in healthy relationships. Do you? And I love it. Do you though? This is for folks who refuse to get out of situations they know they need to get out of, that they spirits is telling them to get out of, that they are not safe in at all. This is for those people who are letting their genitals lead them into toxic situations. This is for people who are not stopping to take a moment and invest in their self-healing and self-development and look at the root of their issues, and then they're using the excuse of that's my soulmate as to why they can't pick up and move on with their life. Okay, this is who this video was for. And I hope you enjoyed it. Last but certainly not least, listen, for those of you who are staying in these toxic relationships because you are justifying it with spiritual reasons, I got a couple of things to say to you. Number one, you don't deserve to be abused. Your love is sacred. You don't deserve to be neglected. You don't deserve to be treated like you're someone's favorite object and not a person. You don't deserve that. You deserve to be cherished. You deserve to be honored. You deserve to be uplifted. You deserve to be looked at. You deserve to be praised. Your love is valuable. Love is not abuse. Is there pain in love? Yeah. Is there intentional abuse and pain in love? No. No. Love contains growth. And the safest, healthiest love is about growth. We know that when you grow, there is sometimes pain. So there will be pain in love sometimes. But intentional abuse, intentional mistreatment, you don't deserve that. You don't have to stay with someone. Even if they were your soulmate, even if they were your twin flame, even if they were your soul tie, you're not obligated to stay with someone because they have that connection to you from a past lifetime. You're not obligated to sacrifice your soul, your sanity, your spirit, your happiness for any of that. Stop letting these phrases keep you in prisons. A soulmate should make you soar. A twin flame should be fueling the fire of your passions and the beauty of your life. A soul tie shouldn't hold you down and tether you to trauma. Those relationships should be filled with growth, expansion, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, healthiness, safety, and love. When we stop using fake excuses, when we stop manufacturing reasons, when we look at the reality of the situation and where we are at in it and how we got there, that is when we can begin to separate ourselves from situations that are truly abusive. That is when we can begin to set our sights towards a future that is healing, full of light and love. But when we use excuses to stay in messed up situations, we curse our past selves, we curse our current self, and you put a hex on your future self. So stop. Be real about why you're in the situation you're in. If you're in a toxic and healthy relationship, just be real about it. Once I discovered that relationship that I had to walk away from, once I discovered and really was clear. It wasn't even discovery, it was a clarity. Spirit really just opened my eyes to what was going on. Once I figured it out, I dug deep. And I spent a good year looking at, how did I get here? How did I not see that? How did I let that go on? I didn't judge myself. There's nothing to judge. I have a very deep history. I didn't judge myself for choosing this person, and I actually don't regret them in my life at all. Although there was some very not cool experience, I cherish the memories that we made that were beautiful. Even though we're not friends, I haven't deleted not one of their pictures. And I still see them come up in some of my Facebook memories, and I have so much joy around them. I can cherish those memories while simultaneously knowing my worth. I'm someone, once I love you, I'm not gonna stop. So even if we're not friends anymore, I'm not gonna stop loving you. However, where I'm at with my healing, you don't need to be anywhere by me. And I don't need you to be in my face in order to love you. I can love you from afar. But once I admitted what was going on, and once I really looked at how I got there, and once I could clearly, and it was clear and quick. Once I really looked at the reality of the situation and I sat with myself, it took less than a day for me to be like, oh, I know how this happened. I know how this happened. Like, it literally laid itself before me. I was like, yeah, I did become friends with you. You were one of my first major friendships that really helped me define community. And so I have given you passes because you've been my sibling for the most part. Like, and you were really great to me in the beginning. And I just kept transferring that image and that energy of the beginning of that friendship over as we kept growing. When there was they had done nothing to contribute to nurturing me or loving me since that first 5 years of the friendship. Once I was clear about how I got in that situation, I didn't judge myself. The healing began, and I was able to separate myself. I was able to express to them my full feelings and say, this is why the friendship is over. And I was also able to genuinely express to them, I will love you forever. But it is painfully obvious that you don't love me. So I'm going to love myself and exit stage right and go live my life. And that is a relationship I could have claimed soulmate with. That is a relationship I could have claimed twin flame with. That's a relationship I could have claimed soul tie with. And in the end, it wasn't any of that. It was two human beings who connected, who were deeply flawed and loved each other. And something went wrong. And the relationship fell apart. And you know what? That's okay. That's called life. The great thing about this is because I was able to be honest, I was able to open the door. That window in my life closed, but then a whole new doorway opened. And I was able to welcome in a new friendship. I was able to welcome in new people into my life and still hang on to my very solid, amazing community that loves and cares for me. Start from the real and heal at the root. No fake or manufactured excuses. Do not keep yourself in the prison of an unhealthy and toxic relationship by using that language. If you're in an unhealthy relationship, be honest about how you got there and why you're not leaving. I guarantee you that'll get you further with healing, and that'll get you a lot further in your life than using fake excuses to stay in a toxic relationship. And that's that on that. If you made it to the end of this video, gold star for you. Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate you. This was a lot. This is the first of my many of these unpopular opinion videos. Some of this is gonna land with a lot of you. Some of it I'm sure there's gonna be some talking and some that you're moving, and that's okay. Let's have a healthy discussion in the comments. Keep it cute. We don't need to attack anybody for having different opinions. We can all share and grow, okay? Okay. And on that note, now it's time to say goodbye. I hope you have a good week, a good morning, a good day, a good middle of the night whenever you encounter this. I hope you have a good one. I hope you have a good minute, moment, hour, week, day, decade, life. I hope you have a good all of that. I hope you have a good all of that. I hope you have a good all of that. And you know the drill. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, make sure you hit that like button, baby. That like button, baby. That subscribe button, darling. That subscribe button. And last but not least, that notifications bell. Because how else are you going to keep up with everything I'm putting down over here? Now, God willing, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah. Peace.